Alright, boys and girls, here we go with Empires and Global Trade Notes Part 2. Today we're going to be talking about the Ottoman Empire and the Mughal Empire, and we kind of did some of the background last year in World History 1 on both of these. The Ottoman Empire at one point in time was the Byzantine Empire, and then obviously the Mughal Empire from India was part of, laid its foundation upon the Mauryan and Gupta empires. Okay, so here we go. Alright, the Ottoman Empire emerged as a political and economic power following the conquest of Constantinople. Okay, and they lasted from about 1299 to 1922, so around 600 years or so. The Ottoman Empire did finally fall apart after the end of World War I, around 1920 or so. And then obviously, I guess 1922 was the official end to the empire. The Ottomans were Muslim, and the Ottomans brought much of Muslim territory in Southwest Asia and North Africa under their rule. The original location was Asia Minor, but grew to include Southwest Asia, Southeast Europe, the Balkan Peninsula, which is Greece, and North Africa. And so the Ottomans also, instead of keeping it Constantinople, okay, and you can see here the Muslim influence, changed it to Istanbul. Okay, and this is a kind of obviously a modern picture or photograph of Istanbul, which at one point in time was Constantinople, which at one point in time was Byzantium. The Islamic religion was a unifying force that accepted other religions, and obviously we've talked about that word, tolerance. So one way to keep a unified empire together is to keep the people that you have conquered happy, and one way to do that is to allow them to practice their own religions, give them a certain amount of rights, try and keep them happy. Happy people have less tendency to rebel and question authority, etc. And the Ottomans like to trade in coffee, ceramics, and spices. And you can see examples of all three of those there. Okay, so this is pretty much all you got to know about the Ottomans. Okay, where they spread out through. So make sure you refer back to the map here. Let's get back up here. Again, Southwest Asia, which is over here. You got North Africa, which is up here along this line. The Balkan Peninsula, which is where Greece is. And then Southeast Europe. Okay, so definitely know those areas that the Ottomans were able to bring under their control. Alright, the Mughal Empire lasted not quite as long as the Ottomans, from about 526 to 1857 AD. And you can see, obviously, the Indian subcontinent here, which, again, we talked about last year with the Mauryan Empire, Ashoka, and the Gupta Empire. The Mughals were descendants of the Mongols. The Muslim Mughal rulers established an empire in northern India. So, at one point in time, the Mongol Empire kind of filtered down, if you will, into parts of India, and that's kind of where that Mongol influence comes from. The Mughal Empire traded with European nations, and as you can see here, much of South India remained independent and was free to trade with whomever, which, again, was most likely European traders. Islam spread into India at this time, but Mughal leaders were tolerant of Hindus. So remember, Hinduism is a major religion in India today, but for a while, there was kind of a Muslim dominance in the Indian subcontinent, and that would later kind of go away. And there are still a lot of Muslims that live in India today, or in the areas, the territories around India. One of the most famous pieces of architecture in the world is the Taj Mahal. And this was built by Emperor Shah Jahan in memory of his favorite wife, Lamat's Mahal. It took about 22 years to complete, and they used quite a bit of people to do it, as well as elephants to carry, or pull heavy objects, stone, and things like that. So it is a gift for, one of his dead wives, I guess his favorite, if you will. She was not alive to enjoy the Taj Mahal. But you can see that there are the minarets here, the calling towers, lots of Muslim design with intricate details in the tile work, etc. Here's Shah Jahan, Lamat's. Here are their tombs, if you will, inside. And here it is from a different angle. Now India, and if you remember from last year, India was the part of the world at the time to really specialize and start developing cotton textiles. And these cotton textiles would influence the British textile industry, which we'll get to later when we talk about the Industrial Revolution. And then, going back to this map here, European nations such as Portugal, England, and the Netherlands competed for the Indian Ocean trade by establishing coastal trading posts as well as trading outposts within the country. So again, talking about how, exploration kind of just blew up around this time. Places like India, Asia, the Americas, Africa became targets for European merchants trying to get rich, establish that mother country colony relationship, which obviously would benefit European nations and not so much the people that they were colonizing. Southern India traded in silks, spices, and gems, all of which were highly sought after in European markets. And Mughal textiles were in demand in European nations. So India and China were very much developed and advanced. We'll talk about China next in the next unit. Or I'm sorry, in the next part of the notes. So Europe was all up in Asia trying to make a profit any way possible. In India, they were very much had their influence spreading throughout the Indian subcontinent. All right, so that's a wrap for part 2. Again, if you have any questions, write them down. Summarize, get your summary done, and a possible quiz. Maybe. We'll see. So I will see you guys next class.